Good day, ma'am. I am Ken Makiling and I am the first reporter, and the topic that we'll be discussing is all about pricing decision. Learning outcomes. At the end of this chapter, the learner should be able to number 1, compute the target selling price is using cost plus pricing strategy. Number 2, determine the percentage of markup using target ROI. And number 3, explain the target costing in developing a new product, time and material pricing, and psychological pricing. Pricing is a major decision that a manager should make. It must be a price that is not only acceptable to the owner for the fair return of his investment, but also acceptable to the consumer who will patronize the company's product. Pricing decisions are the choices the businesses make when setting prices for their products or services. There are companies that do not have a problem on pricing decisions because of their product is in competition with other identical products that already exist. Because of competition, the company has to price their product with minimal plus or minus based on the price of the identical products in order to compete. On the issues of competition, since the prices are dictated by the competition, the manager should focus on cost without sacrificing the quality of the product sold. Trading or manufacturing concern enterprise. Cost plus pricing. Number 1, absorption costing approach. Requires identification of the cost of manufacturing a product, and a markup based on the cost must cover the estimated selling and administration expenses that should come up with a satisfactory profit. Cost structure: direct material 15 pesos, direct labor 10 pesos, variable manufacturing overhead 5 pesos, fixed manufacturing overhead 8 pesos, with a total of 38 pesos. It allocates fixed overhead cost to a product whether or not it was sold in the period. This type of costing method means that more cost is included in the ending inventory, which is carried over into the next period as an asset on the balance sheet. Plus pricing. The fixed manufacturing overhead of 240,000 is based on the premise of 30,000 units volume capacity, assuming that the capacity of the company is to mark up their product by 30%. The selling price of the product will be computed as follows: direct materials 15 pesos, direct labor 10 pesos, variable manufacturing overhead 5 pesos, fixed manufacturing overhead 8 pesos, with a total of 38 pesos, plus 38% markup 11.40, the selling price of the product 49.40. Computation of selling price using cost plus pricing approach. Cost plus pricing is a very simple pricing strategy where you decide how much extra you will charge for an item over the cost. A cost plus pricing is also known as markup pricing. It's a pricing method where a fixed percentage is added on the top of the cost it takes to produce 1 unit of a product unit cost. The resulting number is the selling price of the product. How to compute the percentage of markup? So, in the illustration of figure 11.3, the selling and administrative expenses are estimated at 20% of selling price. Below is the computation of the markup percentage. Formula: markup percentage computation under absorption costing method. Desired return on selling and administrative, set employed expenses, volume in units, unit measuring cost. Markup percentage is calculated by dividing the gross profit of a unit, its sales price minus its cost to make or purchase for resale, by the cost of that unit. If an item is priced at $12 but cost the company $8 to make, the markup percentage is 50%, calculated as 12 minus 8 times 8. Computation of markup. Unit cost of 38 pesos multiplied by 32.63% as computed above is equal to 12.40 pesos. Based on the computation, the manager should personally assess the market condition if the price is also acceptable to potential consumers of the product. Supposing the price is lower than the market condition, it is highly recommended to offer this as an Offer this as an introductory price and later on adjust to fit market condition. How about if the price is higher than the market condition? Then it is highly recommended to adjust the owner's return on investment. For example, the market condition requires the product to be priced at 40 pesos.
Good day everyone, I am Jessica A. Igonia, and for the continuation of our report, I'll be going to discuss to you my assigned topic, which is the variable costing approach. So it requires identifying the variable cost of the product. So here comes the example of the figure 11.7, the illustrative problem. So the cost structure. So first, the direct materials, which is costing 15 pesos. The direct labor is 10 pesos. The variable manufacturing overhead is 5 pesos. And also the variable selling and administration expenses is 6 pesos. So in order to sum up, you are going to total of this in order to have the variable cost. So the total is 36 pesos. So next is assuming that the policy of the company is to mark up the product based on 30% of the cost. The selling price is computed as follows. So this is the figure 11.8. Computation of selling price based on the illustrative problem in figure 11.7, the previous example. So, diba? We're going to total the previous cost. So, which is total of 36 pesos. So, you are going to add or plus the markup of 30%. So, the 30% of the total of 36 pesos is 10.80. So, the selling price of the product, in order you to get the selling price of the product, you have to add the total plus the markup of 30%. So, that is 46.80 pesos. Next, under this approach shown below is the income statement of the company as a result of their 30% pricing policy. So here comes the figure 11.9, the income statement using the computed selling price. So the Grand Likash Corporation, these are the income statement the year 2013, December 31. So their sales number of units is costing of 30,000. Each of these selling price is 46.80. So in order to get the amount, you have to multiply the number of units from the selling price, which is costing of 46.80. So 30,000 times 46.80, that is total amount of 1,404,000 pesos. So less cost of the product, the 30,000, and also their selling price. Each of the selling price is 38 pesos. So in order to get that, you are going to multiply the 30,000 times 38. That is 1,140,000. So in order to get the gross margin, you have to subtract the sales into the less cost of the product. So the 1,404,000 subtracted by the 1,140,000. So that is the 264,000 gross margin. And then the less selling and administrative expenses. So that is 74,100. In order you to get your net income, you are going to subtract the gross margin into less selling and administrative expenses. So that is total of 189,900. Next, the selling and administration expenses of 74,100 is computed as follows. You are assuming that total selling and administration expenses is 296,400. So this as shown in absorption costing approach. So hain kita nagikan ng 222,300. So this contains of 75% variable. So the 296,400, the 75% of this is 222,300. So this is the fixed selling and administration. So in order you to get the expenses component, you have to subtract it from 296,400 minus 222,300. That is the total of 74,100. Next. So this assuming that there is no established pricing policy of the company. Compute for the markup in the production based on the following information. First is the volume in units. So costing of 75,000. So its product is 2,500,000. So the direct materials is 15 pesos. The direct labor is 10 pesos. The variable factory overhead is 6 pesos. The variable selling and administration expenses is 5 pesos. So fixed selling and administration expenses is 250,000. And the fixed factory overhead is 150,000. The return on investment is costing of 30%. So this is the markup computation. So as the compute for the markup, so here comes the formula. Desired return on or fixed selling and administration expenses. So the asset employed plus fixed manufacturing cost and also the volume in units. You have to multiply it unit measuring cost. So here is the figure 11.12, the computation of selling price using absorption costing method. So to apply the markup, so markup of percentage computation under absorption costing method. So the 30% times 250,000 plus 400,000. So the 250,000, the 30% of 2,500,000 is 750,000. So that's it. This 250,000. So you have to bring down the 400,000 here, and also the 75,000 you have to multiply it by 36. So that's it, the 2,700,000. So you have also again then 750,000, you have to add this into 400,000, then you have come up the 1,150,000 and also bring down the 2,700,000. So in order to sum up, you will get the 42.59%. Also to compute for the selling price, so assuming that the unit cost is 38 pesos, add the markup. So the unit cost 38 pesos, then add the markup of 16.19, you have this 54.19 total, the proposed selling price. So that's it. Next, the number 3 is target costing approach. The previous approaches, absorption and variable costing approaches, were based on the premise that the product has already been developed and thus selling price has to be strategically planned to meet the customer's acceptability and the owner's return on investment requirement. But under the target costing approach, the company will be working in a reverse scenario. So here comes the example of figure 11.13, the illustrative problem using target costing approach. So the estimated sales is, the units is 500,000. Then the selling price of this is 20 pesos each. So in order you to get the total, so you are going to multiply it. So 500,000 multiplied by 20 pesos. So that is 10 million pesos. The less desired profit of the owner of 5%. So hain yung gikan. So ang 500,000. So the So the 5% of 10 million is 500,000. So amo ini. Then how to get the target cost of the product? So it's simply 10 million. You have to subtract it in 500,000. That is 9,500,000. So next, after getting the target cost of the product, the company can then establish the cost or unit of the product. So the target cost of the product is 9,500,000. The estimated number of units is 500,000. So when we say units, so in order to get your cost per unit, you have to divide it. So 9,500,000 divided by to 500,000. So that is the 19 pesos. So next, remember that the 910 cost of the product includes the variable and fixed cost as well as the selling and administrative expenses. So therefore, the next step will be to identify the two mentioned components. So here comes the example of figure 11.15, the computation of selling and administrative expenses. The cost per unit is 910 pesos and the cost to produce is 80%. So the 80% of 19 pesos is 15.20. And then kung 80% so na ay 20%. So that is the selling and administrative expenses, which is the 20%. So 20% of 19 is 3.80, the total of 19 pesos. Next, based on the above information, the company can now establish the four cost components like the direct materials, direct labor, variable manufacturing cost, and the fixed manufacturing cost. So for example, the unit cost to produce the product is 15.20. So 15.20. The estimated direct materials is 45%. So you have to multiply it. So the 15.20, the 45% of 15.20 pesos is 6.84. So estimated direct labor is 30%. So the 30% of 15.20 is 4.56. The estimated variable manufacturing cost, the 15% of 15.20 is 2.28. So the estimated fixed manufacturing cost, the 10% of 15.20 is 1.52 pesos. The total of 100%, that is the 15.20 pesos. This is the computation of the various cost components using the target costing approach.
Psychological pricing. Advantages of psychological pricing. Number 1, by using this pricing strategy, the price is shifted into a lower price category with little effect into the overall performance of the product sold. Number 2, with a small reduction of price, more quantity will be sold and therefore the overall impact will increase sales figures. Number 3, the cashier will have a difficulty in cheating because the figures are not rounded. Generally, people can easily cheat on rounded figures. Disadvantages of psychological pricing. Number 1, sometimes it is difficult to make calculations, although nowadays technology has helped us out on this concern. Number 2, there are people or customers that understand psychological pricing that are difficult to persuade to buy the product. Number 3, businessmen investing on product equity could have on applying psychological pricing. Therefore, psychological pricing is a system of setting the price of a company's product slightly lower than the rounded prices. For instance, if the price is 100 pesos, the psychological price is 99 pesos. Or if the price is 1,000, the psychological price is 999 pesos. This is based on the belief that generally consumers tend to process the prices from the leftmost digit to the right. The effect of this psychological pricing system is that the consumers thought that the price is cheaper than it is actually is.